welcome to the Fruit Snacks Podcast. I'm your host, Emily Wardrop from Drop the Word Life Coaching. I am the T1D Moms Coach. I'm here to help you manage your mental and emotional health while managing your child's diabetes. 2 of my 5 kiddos have been diagnosed, and so I'm very familiar with your struggles, and I don't know where I'd be without these life coaching tools and the gospel of Jesus Christ to get me through the day and night. Thank you for joining me as we journey towards feeling less scared, sad, and stressed, and start feeling more calm, confident, and connected. Let's get started. All right, welcome back to the Fruit Snacks Podcast. This is your host, Emily Wardrop from Drop the Word Life Coaching. I am very excited about this episode. So we've been talking about the nervous system. Are you geeking out on this as much as I am? I'm telling you, this is the secret sauce that I've needed for 10 years of being a mom. So, for many of those years, like 2017, I found life coaching and found out that feelings come from thoughts. And I was like, wait, what? I thought feelings came from how annoying my husband is being or how annoying the baby crying is. You know, I feel annoyed all day because of the baby and the husband, right? Wrong. I feel annoyed because of thoughts I'm having about the baby and the husband. Wait, what? So I got a lot of accountability back, and I got my power back. I got just my mind blown by that idea, right? And so if I want to feel a certain way, I can think something on purpose to feel a different way. I was like, whoa, cool. So I've been working on that for a gajillion years now. And in the heat of the moment, forget it. And so I'm like, wait, what was that thought I'm supposed to think to feel a certain way? And so then I started doing feeling work. I'm like, okay, thought work in the heat of the moment isn't working. In the heat of the moment, all you can do is just feel the feels because you've already thought the thoughts. And then later you go back and figure out, well, what was with that knee-jerk reaction? Like, what was I actually thinking all the things, right? So I'm trying to believe that I can control my thoughts to feel however I want to feel. And it just is not working. Have you had this experience? How long have you been doing thought work, life coaching stuff? So it wasn't until this new piece of the nervous system that I'm finally getting a new layer of traction, as they say. Okay. So thought work is great when your brain is online, but when your brain is hijacked by your nervous system, then forget it. You have no access to that notebook full of amazing, fun, new thoughts that you got from your life coach. Or hopefully from yourself that your life coach helped you figure out some thoughts that would be believable. They're still not believable in the heat of the moment because your brain is hijacked by your nervous system. So the more I learn about the nervous system, the more I want to learn about the nervous system, and I'm totally geeking out on this stuff. So here's what I want to talk about today. Now that we've learned about regulating ourselves, right? Then we take a breath. We remind ourselves that we are safe. Like, this is the magic secret sauce that I've been working on with my parenting coach the past few weeks is to just, I'm literally telling you, I have thoughts like she can pitch a fit and I don't have to. He can, be tired and that's okay. Like, the baby can ask for that same thing over and 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 over. Of course she does. She's trying to get her needs met. I have all the pretty thoughts, right? I have no access to them while she's asking for something over and over and over and over and over and over and over because my brain is hijacked by my nervous system. So all I can do is remember to remind myself I am safe. So I am safe. I could hardly even remember to breathe. That's what I was trying to do before. It's like the first step of emotion work in the heat of the moment is just breathe and feel the feeling. And I literally couldn't even remember to do that. Like, the knee-jerk reactions are real, people, because they come from your nervous system. So we have to calm our nervous systems. We have to remind ourselves that we are safe. The nervous system's job is to keep you safe and to let you know when there's a threat. And your baby asking for the same thing over and over and over and over and over and over and over. She's not really a baby. She's more than 2 years old now. And none of my other kids were considered a baby when they were this old, but she's the baby of the family. So she'll always be the baby. Anyway, I'm glad that she can talk now, but sometimes I can't tell what she's saying. And so she has to say it over and over and over and over and over. And I'm like, I didn't know what you said the first time. I don't know what you said the 9,000th time either. Until I'm gifted the gift of tongues and all of a sudden I understand what she's saying. Which happens sometimes miraculously. Anyway, point is, it's a toddler, not a tiger, right? But our nervous system doesn't know that. So we have to calm our nervous system to get access to our logical prefrontal cortex brain. And then we can show up as the aligned mother that we truly are. Because you are a good mom and you have this human body that's designed to keep you safe and keep your baby safe. Because that mama bear reaction is the real deal too. Because you can't tell our nervous system that the attacker is also one of your cubs. All you know is that the other one of your cubs is under attack, right? So you calm yourself before you take out your knee-jerk reaction all over the, what was I just calling him? Him, right? The attacker, right? So you are not going to attack the attacker because he's attacking your daughter. They're both your kids and you need to get yourself calmed down to be the adult here who actually has access to a prefrontal cortex to be able to, what's that word I always say? What's on the sports analogies? I always mess those up, right? The referee, in order to referee from a neutral place, right? Okay. So that's what we're going to talk about today is that once we are regulated, then what? This is so good. This is so good. You know how when you take it down to the bare minimum, when you're like, what is your job as a mom? Or how do you define what a good mom is? What even is that? And what is your role and all the things, right? So when it comes down to it, your job is to love these kids, right? And I know that you love them, but are you feeling the love or are you feeling hijacked by your nervous system and it's causing all sorts of havoc, right? And so once we can get regulated, then we can be feeling the love and the peace and the joy and all the things that we want to be feeling, right? The fruits of the spirit are hard to access when we're hijacked by our nervous system, okay? So with so much compassion that our bodies are doing what bodies are supposed to do, then what? Okay. So what's really cool is that, okay, so our job is to love our kids, right? So are we feeling love? Are we thinking loving thoughts that are causing loving feelings? Are we showing up in a loving way? What percentage of the day would you say? Are we there? That's the goal. That's our job. And how well are we doing at that? Not to beat ourselves up, but just to get awareness, right? And then we're going to have acceptance. And then what? We're going to go into alignment once we've, without judgment, got awareness and then accepted it. Okay. So you are where you are. That's fine. You are a good mom. And what? What's all this stuff we need to work on? Okay. So here's the thing. Sorry, I keep tangenting off. The point is that our job is to love our kids, which also means that we need to teach them all of these skills, right? That's the first thing moms want to know. When they learn all these skills for themselves, they're like, but how do I teach my kids? We're like, okay, yeah. I have to self-regulate. No, how do I teach my kids how to self-regulate? Okay, how do I get my kids' nervous systems to calm down, right? How do I get my kids regulated? Here's the thing. Modeling. Kids do not do what we teach them. Have you noticed this? All day long, we're like, wah, 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 wah. They don't hear anything we're saying. They see what we're doing. They do what we do. Do you open your mouth and your mom comes out? We do what our brains were programmed by our parents to do. And it's not what they taught us with their words. It's what they showed us with their actions, right? And what we felt from them. So we've got to get this all figured out in order to model it for them. That is the way you teach your kids. You cannot do the whole do as I say, not as I do, right? That does not work. So we've got to get this figured out. And then they will learn just by watching us. It's the coolest thing to watch the kids stop and take a breath. And not because I'm like, calm down, you need to breathe, blah, 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 blah. Well, I'm totally dysregulated, right? But they just see me trying to do these tools and then they pick it up and they are learning by watching me. So far, all they've learned by watching me is what I'm calling co-dysregulation. So when my nervous system hijacks my brain and body and sanity, and then I turn into cray cray mom, which P.S. I'm the only one allowed to call myself that, right? Then all they're learning is how to allow their nervous systems to hijack their little bodies and to be cray cray kids, right? And so we're trying to help them as they develop their prefrontal cortexes to be able to transition into the higher brain, to be able to calm their nervous systems, all the things. The way to teach them is to learn it yourself, to model it, to do it, and they learn from you doing it, okay? Now, if your kid has completely lost it, they're pitching a fit. They're really good at that, right? Because they have not been conditioned into behaving, right? They've not been socialized into being into the socially acceptable behavior that we have. So they're the ones pitching the fit in the grocery store and we're just holding it all in, right? Until we get home. They are actually doing the most efficient way of getting those feelings out, right? And we're stuffing them. So what we want is somewhere in between where we can calm ourselves, regulate ourselves in a healthy way, not in just a reactionary way to all the emotions, right? So the way to teach our kids how to do this is to learn how to do it ourselves. And literally in the heat of the moment, when the kid is pitching a fit, the only thing you need to do, you do not need to get him to stop. You need to regulate you. So if you're in Target and the kid wants everything and you're getting dysregulated because you know what the bank account looks like and you know how much we're supposed to spend on this and you know how much you want this stuff in the cart and you don't want to be adding more stuff in the cart that he wants and all the things, right? That's dysregulating yourself. The kid is just being a kid. Of course he wants everything. So do you. Look at your cart. It's full of stuff that you want, right? So why shouldn't he be allowed to want stuff? But it's because of all the drama in our own heads causing all the feelings, right? And we're stuffing them so that we can behave in public. And then we blame the kid's tantrum on like why we lose our shiz, right? So in Target, all you need to do is focus on regulating yourself. The kid is allowed to pitch a fit. They're a kid. Everyone around you gets it. No one is judging you. They're all like, girl, I know. I was there 20 years ago and hallelujah, I'm at the store alone this time, you know? Or I was there 5 years ago, or girl, look, my kids are pitching a fit too. Everybody gets it, okay? So we don't need to worry about other people's judgments because that's just adding more drama to your fire that's dysregulating you. All you need to worry about is regulating yourself. So if you don't have access to all those pretty thoughts because your nervous system is activated at this point, I am safe. I am safe. I am safe. It's not a toddler. I mean, it is a toddler in my cart. It's not a tiger. It's okay for him to be him because, of course, he wants all the things. Okay. But if you don't have access to all those thoughts, at least just remind yourself that you're safe, calm your nervous system. And then like a regulated adult who's not having their own toddler tantrum, then you can talk to your kid and not in that, that tone of, what would that be called? Like a nagging, like, come on, kid, we don't have enough money for this, blah, 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 the whole entire spiel, right? You can just calmly tell them no and keep walking and get out of the store as soon as possible or whatever you need to do, okay? So the whole point is that, to summarize, this whole blah, blah, blah could be summarized as when your kid is pitching a fit, your job is not to get them to stop. Your job is to regulate yourself, okay? Let me say it again. When your kid is dysregulated, your job is not to regulate them. It's to regulate yourself. So if they're pitching a fit in Target, if they're fighting with their sister, if they're, they want something that, for lunch that you don't even have in the house, so you can't give it to them, whatever it is they're pitching a fit about, they're allowed to pitch a fit. They're not doing anything wrong. You're just reacting in a way that your job is to calm yourself. Okay. And then we can address whatever it is they're freaking out about. Okay. So, because if we do not do this, the opposite happens, co-dysregulation. Okay. So they're dysregulated and we mirror their thoughts and feelings and behaviors. Okay, because that's how humans work, is that we mirror each other. And so the most dysregulated person in the house is probably controlling the mood for the whole house. Have you noticed this? Like, whoever it is that's the most annoyed right now or frustrated or angry or whatever, the grumpiest kid like rules the family. Have you noticed this? And it doesn't have to be the case. You can be regulated while they're grumpy. It is possible. And it's not by getting them to be less grumpy. You don't need to give them ice cream to calm them down so that you can regulate. All you need to do is regulate yourself. Okay. I know all of this is way easier said than done. And that's what we work on in coaching, like I say every episode, right? So, co-dysregulation. Have you noticed this happening in your house? Where someone is dysregulated, someone's, having a tantrum, pitching a fit, fighting with their siblings, whatever is happening, the chaos ensues, right? Because everyone gets co-dysregulated. It's just the natural state of our bodies. If there's a threat to that kid, then there's probably a threat. And so all of our nervous systems get hijacked, or all of our nervous systems hijack our higher brain thinking, because there's some sort of threat because somebody is dysregulated. It's like wildfire. Someone's freaking out, then everybody starts freaking out, right? So our goal is to co-regulate, right? Maybe you've heard of this. This is very big right now in all the parenting expert circles, right? That if your kid's pitching a fit, the way to get them to calm down is to co-regulate. So we don't have to be like, okay, buddy, you need to breathe. Come on, buddy. Like when he's super dysregulated, have you noticed that does not work? I don't want to breathe or whatever, right? So your job is to breathe. You're the one that needs to breathe. He has a relatively new body. Like these kids know how to handle their emotions, okay? It might not be in a socially acceptable way. So our job is to just regulate ourselves. And when we're ready, we can go and co-regulate with them. When you're ready, when you're calmed down, and when they're willing to regulate themselves through your regulation, then you can co-regulate, okay? But you don't need to be in a hurry to do any of this. Like literally, unless they're actually breaking things or hurting other people, like they're getting their feelings out in the most efficient way. And the way to teach them how to get their feelings out in a more socially acceptable way is to model it. It's not to like freak out in the moment and get co-dysregulated. Does that make sense? So we really have to get the awareness, right? Our first AAA battery. We need awareness that we're co-dysregulating, and then not judge ourselves. Don't make yourself wrong. It's okay. Your body is functioning exactly how it's supposed to. All the acceptance battery, right? And then once you have the awareness without the judgment, then we can start doing it a different way. Okay. And being aligned in your true self. So notice when you co-dysregulate, regulate yourself, and then you can co-regulate with them. That's the summary of the episode. That took a lot of blah, blah, blah to get to. Okay. So does it make any sense? Okay. Do we know what co-dysregulation looks like? If you're in a household full of littles, you saw it yesterday. It happened this morning when you're trying to get the kids to school. Like, this is just a normal state. I'm pretty sure it's not just my house that's full of co-dysregulation. As soon as one kid freaks out, then we freak out that they're freaking out and everybody else is freaking out. And it's just a really, really fun scene, right? Here's a visual that I shared with a couple of people coaching yesterday or whatever day it was, a couple of days ago, especially at the end of the night. Have you noticed like the waking up in the morning, getting out the door? That's a hot time of day, right? And then at the end of the night, when we are done, all of our cups are full to overflowing in a bad way. Our our sensory cups, you have an auditory bucket. And if you've heard too much today, too much stimulus in any of your senses, those sensory buckets are full to overflowing. And those buckets we want to be. There's like mixed metaphors going on in my head right now. So that's why I keep laughing at myself. Anyway, the point is, at the end of the day, we are done, right? We're out of patience. We're out of everything. We're out of gas. We're out of bandwidth. You know what it looks like. So when your patience bucket is very low, then you fill it up with self-compassion. This is a visual that I kept coaching people with the other day. So at the end of the night, when you have lost it, it's because you're done. You like, again, your nervous system has hijacked your brain, your poor prefrontal cortex has been trying to keep it together all day long, is tired. It is ready for a recharge. It is ready for bed. And you still have to get the kids fed and all that entails. So that's when you need self-compassion. You're not going to get compassion from your kids who are dysregulated or your husband who's dysregulated. Like, it's up to you to give yourself the compassion to fill up that bucket, that the patience bucket. When the patience is running low, you need to give yourself self-compassion. Okay. So I want you to remember that, and remember, I am safe. And once you've regulated yourself, you can co-regulate with the rest of the house and get them to sleep. Okay. So whether it's getting out the door in the morning, at the store, or bedtime, very hot topics for dysregulation, right? Co-regulation. Let's focus on co-regulating instead of co-dysregulating. Okay. If any of this is intriguing, but you're like, yeah, right, easier said than done, you don't know my family, well, let me get to know your family. So let's chat. If you're not into Zoom, we can do phone calls. I coach over the phone too. It doesn't have to be video and audio, whatever, on Zoom, whatever you want to do, whatever you're most comfortable with. But I'm offering complimentary coaching sessions still right now. So you can get a free coaching session, see what it's like. And we can get started on regulating ourselves so that we can co-regulate instead of just letting our bodies do what they do, which is okay, but there is a better way. So let's co-regulate, people. I will talk to you next time. Thanks for listening. Make sure to leave a 5-star rating and a review so that we can get this out to more mamas. Hey, T1D moms. Was that episode helpful? I put together a free video for you with my top 3 brain hacks for T1D moms. Check it out at dropthewar.com/top3. Having a child with diabetes is hard enough. Let's not make it any harder with the way we're thinking about it all. Get my free top 3 brain hacks for T1D moms video at dropthewar.com/top3. See you there. Hello, my sweet T1D parent friend. The next time you catch yourself thinking that you can't do this anymore, redirect your brain to Philippians 4:13 and remind yourself that you can do all things through Christ, which strengthens you. As your life coach, I'm here to be a conduit to help you get your brain and body aligned in order for your spirit to clearly communicate with His Spirit to become your own diabetes parenting expert. Go to dropthewar.com/appointments for your complimentary coaching session, and let's do this thing.